Hi, I'm Corey Ball.
And I'm Daniel Bowles. It's time for a new episode of Off the Beaten Path, a podcast for basketball coaches living in obscurity, working in obscurity, and even those who have made it out of obscurity.
It's a place for storytelling, learning, connecting, reconnecting, and my favorite, food for thought, and my very favorite, food for the belly. And today we have a good guest with us, ties in with kind of everything we've done on this show, being off the beaten path. He started at a little junior college that was private, and I'm gonna let him tell a story. But that's how I met him. He was an assistant with me his first coaching job, and somehow he didn't get scared out of it after year one and hung around. But we got the new women's head basketball coach at Reinhardt University. How's it going, Tony?
Pretty good, pretty good. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah, man, it's great having you. So, Tony Campbell, let's jump right into it, man. You, what made you get into basketball?
And I love basketball. I don't remember a day where I didn't play basketball. So, and really, one of your former guests, Kevin Young, kind of helped push me that way as well. I always wanted to be in it. So after I finished playing at Georgia Southwestern, I had a chance to play overseas, and I never thought I was going to get that chance. Never, I was just playing basketball for the love of the game. But I had a pretty good senior year and had a chance to play overseas. And I was working at a pro-am tournament or whatever, working out, playing over there, and I tore my Achilles. So as you remember, when I first got there, I was on crutches. So I didn't know what to do, so really was like, maybe I'll go back and get my master's or whatever. I didn't know. It was kind of like, and then KY called me out of the blue and was like, I heard what happened, it sucks, but I got a friend who's looking for, an assistant coach, and, would you be interested? It's like, yeah. So, and next thing you know, we talked to you and ended up in Cleveland, Georgia.
That's crazy. Well, when Antonio first come there, we'll call you T. Campbell, Antonio, and Tony, and Tone. You have about
Yeah.
12 different names. But when he first came
Yeah.
up to Truett, Coach Leader, who was one of the guys he played for at Southwestern, was real high on him. KY, of course, and Jay. So if it wouldn't have been for KY, because the other two I knew were not good references, KY was the reason we got over the top. Now, all jokes aside, though, he came in and it was he had to live in the courts. We've had Eric on here who did the same thing, and Dr.
Oh
Chris,
yeah.
and the courts has had three coaching legends live down there, and so you got to live in the courts. So before we keep moving, tell us your favorite court story, and that's the bottom of the hill. I don't even think they exist anymore, but that was their apartment
Man.
for the older folks that worked there or whatever.
Yeah. Man, there's a lot of yeah, the course was different. Yeah. Especially it was just different, especially being so young. I do know I had a player give me his pit bull. Okay, he had a baby pit bull that, and he didn't want it no more. And I was like, no, I can't. He's like, Coach, you can't do nothing with it. I can't afford it. And I kept it for I think I kept it for a month. And then eventually I got somebody, I had to give it away because it had worms in the poop. Oh my gosh. It was not a good experience. Okay. It was a puppy, what I'm saying? Thank goodness I was down there. So the dog wasn't really messing anything up. It was like, all right, well, it's okay. It's here. But yeah, that wasn't good.
Hey, you were one of the best dog walkers, though. You used to keep Spivey and walk her up.
Oh yeah.
Me and Mandy's dog when we were up there. So
Yeah. I,
Now, Tony,
I'm a
because
big, I'm a big,
go ahead,
Daniel.
Tony.
Oh no, like I said, I'm a big dog lover. Okay, I love dogs. I just don't want one myself. I love other people's dogs.
yeah, exactly. That's good. So anyway, we kind of jumped ahead. Your playing career was what you loved, and that got you into coaching. Tell us a little bit
Yep.
about where you played before we move on. I know you played at a very successful high school career and was able to play Division II at Kennesaw State. Is that correct?
Yep. Played went to Spraberry High School in Marietta, Georgia, along with the previous aforementioned KY, who was 1 year above me. And we had a pretty good year. We had a pretty good 3 years actually. I think in those 3 years we lost single digits, combined. So we didn't lose a lot of games during those 3 years, my sophomore through senior year. And then after that, went to Kennesaw State, played under Tony Ingle, uh, legend himself, and also on staff is Jeff Jones and that Mata, Coach Mata. So he had a really good staff there. And then after that, uh, I ended up going to Georgia Southwestern
And then that was
in
where you played.
Americus, Georgia.
You played for Bartsdale,
Yeah, and that's
Leader, and Jay, right?
yes, sir. Yep. Uh, yeah, that was. I always tell people that my first year there, that could have been a reality show. That playing under Jay Gibbons, Mike Leader, and Randolph Barksdale. They had, yeah, it really could have been a reality show. And like I said before that, I played at Kennesaw State and under Tony Ingle, who is quite the character himself. He is definitely a character and great guy. But man, that year, man, at Georgia Southwestern, that first year especially, that could have been a reality show.
So what in the world? So you go from playing for Leader and Barksdale and Jay to all of a sudden you stop playing and now your first coaching job is with CB and you're still in
Yes,
it. So that's
yes.
number one. That's a big deal. But what was it like? Because he won't ask this. What was it like working for CB? What did you learn, and how did that kind of help you as you've gone through your journey?
Man, one of the best things, and we were just talking about this probably not too long ago, just get players, athletes who can play and play hard. Like if you get people who's gonna, athletes that's gonna play hard and just play the right way, you're gonna win a lot of games just like that. And obviously working, you got to push them. But if you can get, long athletes who, are going to work, and you can build them into players. So that's one thing that I definitely try to look out for. Man, that girl, she's long and athletic. You know what I'm saying? Or the years before this, that kid right there, was like, hey, you know what? I can teach him, the skills. You can't teach, long and athletic. So
I like. Well, you definitely hit the trifecta. So your personality must be great for attracting crazy folks. With Tony Ingle, I don't know if they got worse or better. I can't decide all the way
me
down
either.
with me. But then you could tell us what happened after you were true. We were junior college. You were with us our second to last year of junior college.
Yep.
So where'd you go to next?
Yeah. After that, I ended up where I am now at Reinhardt University. Coached under the current athletic director Jeffrey Portier. And I was here for 3 years. We had a pretty good 3 years here. Went to conference tournament, the conference championship game my last 2 years.
Awesome.
So yeah. So
Still hanging out with crazy people. You got Portier now.
yeah,
Added to
yeah. So crazy thing about that, we got the basketball office, and it was me, Portier, and this is my last year, and then we had our grad assistant was Heath Hooper. He's like at Shorter University now, but all three of us were there, and I think he might be the provost by now. Who knows? But he's in the, but he's been on that side of things. But we were all three in the same office, and we all have the same birthday.
Wow.
So yeah, it was. So we got a little Italian place over here that gives you like free food. It's like, oh, free food on your birthday. So we all went there, and then the owner came out. He's like, we're like, you want to see our IDs? No, we didn't make this up. He was like, no, I just want to know how y'all met each other. Was it online or? he's like, how did y'all even meet each other? He's like, we all work at the same place, and we were like, he was like, oh, well, you must have a big office or something, you know. He's like, no, we work in a little small school. He's like, that's crazy. He's like, no, we actually work in the same office, like in the same, you know, we all coach basketball. He was like, what? How is this happening? So it was kind of crazy. He actually got us desserts too. He's like, no, let me get you desserts as well. He's like, this is crazy. He's like, just leave my waitress a good tip. We did, but yeah, it was kind of crazy. We were kind of surprised when we found that out. It's like, man, it was weird, but we had good synergy, so we won games.
Well, obviously, Truett was private, JUCO, and Reinhardt's a private NAI. But I know the story, obviously. But tell the people that'll watch the show, how did you go from JUCO to 4-year assistant? How did that go down? How did that happen?
Man, it was kind of, you know, Forcier called me, you know, basically it was like a little thing where he just gave me a call and he was like, yo, and he knew who I was from my playing days. I think he was at Southern Poly. So we had played them and I guess, you know, like most coaches do, he probably called and asked people about me. And they were able to lie enough to convince him to interview me. So I came for an interview and you know, he offered me the job during the interview. And I said, you know, let me think about it. And I think I called him, you know, probably 30 minutes later. I was like, yeah, what am I thinking about? You know, I definitely want to take this job. So
Awesome. So where do you go to next from
yeah, after Reinhardt, after my first stint at Reinhardt, I ended up at Clayton State University down in Morrow, Georgia. So not private school. So and Division II public school in Morrow. So I played under the legendary Gordon Gibbons.
So that had to be a major change going from North Georgia mountains to the south side of Atlanta, but also going from private to public. You know, tell us a little bit about that.
And going from Forcier to Gibbons, there's another. They keep getting better.
Yeah, it was a lot of things different, but it was good. You know, it was basically, you know, same thing. You know, you're just trying to win games. You know, so getting out there, obviously, recruiting was a little bit different at Clayton State, especially with all of G's connections in Florida. So I was in Florida a lot. You know, and that was the first time I do remember, you know, going to practice, driving to Florida, watching a basketball game, you know, staying after the basketball game, talk to the kid, and then driving back, you know, that same day, you know, usually stopping at like a hotel, not to stay at the hotel, but just to pull over my car, sleep for 2 or 3 hours if I got sleepy, and then come on back.
So you went from, of course, I was an assistant with Coach for 5 years. You went from seeing what I was trying to do to see how it was actually supposed to be done.
No, he definitely did some stuff. And then he was one of the first guys I remember running, you know, I know it's big now, but the dribble drive. We ran that my last year there, and it just fit our personnel better. And so he went into a lot of dribble drive offense, and it worked well for us. So he was, you know, he's forever watching video, you know, one of the hardest workers. That was one thing that I definitely learned from him. Like, you get on the road and he's up till 1 o'clock in the morning, you know, scouting the team that we've already scouted. You know, we've like, Coach, we've been through this. He's like, I want to see what I can see if I can see one thing, see if I can see one more thing always. So he was up till 1 o'clock, and then at 1:30, he go hit, you know, Waffle House up and then go to bed. You know, Coach only eats like one time a day too, so it's like 1:30 in the morning always.
Yep, that's him.
That's great.
And
yeah, it's drinking.
So now you get your first transition, right? You know, you go from staying at a place, but Coach G ends up retiring, and you end up staying on with the new staff. You know, tell us a little bit about that, and then I'll let Bowles ask questions. I've been controlling it. My bad, Bowles.
You're good.
No. So when I'm there, G, you know, retired. You know, probably my last year there, and his last year there, and then I stayed for another 2 years under Coach Paul Harrison, and he came in and did a good job as well. You know, just, and I learned a lot from him. He was a big component of having, sets that were similar, and running a lot of sets, which was probably my first time playing for somebody who ran, but was very meticulous about it, and ran a lot of good stuff. But sets that were similar, sets that, all right, boom, it looks like this, but it's this, and we had, probably 4 different plays and out of every starting set. So it was pretty. It was a new thing to see, so it was pretty good.
Now, as you've kind of gone through here, you've been at all these different schools in Georgia. Kind of talk about how because there was a big transition at that time from NAIA to D2. Talk about how the leagues changed and how you kind of changed jobs, but I'm sure it was a pretty similar guys you're recruiting, people you're playing, that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, especially you saw a lot of the same recruits, obviously, and still you were trying to get the best available, you know what I'm saying? But even when I was, at like a place like Reinhardt, I bumped into people who I was already, well, when I went to Clayton State, man, I bumped into people who I was recruiting from there, you know what I'm saying? So try to get some of the same guys, because you're always trying to recruit at, the highest level possible. So it was very similar, especially being in the same state. I'm going to all these colleges, but they're all in the same state. So, I think who's moving, I know Kennesaw State moved from D2 to D1, Georgia Southwestern from NAIA to D2. See, yeah, all around that same time. So, Truett from JUCO to NAIA. So it's just a lot of people moving at that time. So it was
a lot of people don't realize it now when you talk about Southwestern, North Georgia, LaGrange, Piedmont, Auburn, Montgomery, Faulkner. Everybody's in the same league, and it was all of us in the same league, and now it's kind of gone all over.
Yeah, that was a tough league. That was a definitely tough league.
I give you a crazy one. The year before Tony was with me was my first year as the head coach at Truett, and there was only 6 teams in the league, and we've had as many as 12 between the 18 years of starting this year. We're now at 9, and out of the 9, only one of those teams from the original 6 are left. And it's South Georgia Tech, who was considered a newer program back then.
Yeah, I was about it.
Yeah. Truett went NAIA, Middle went NAIA, Coastal went NAIA, ABAC dropped men's basketball and women's basketball. They're about to go NAIA. And then the
Perimeter not there.
Metro and Perimeter got out of it.
Perimeter not there. Yeah, that was, I was like, what?
Yeah, so Georgia's had a lot of changeover with, academics probably the main drive and numbers and all that, but still affects the athletic side of it as well.
So you're
tell us a little more. So now you're at Clayton. You've got this unbelievable resume you're putting together. You've worked with a lot of characters, and before the next change, with the vast array of characters, you had me, a second-year head coach. You had Porsche, fairly young head coach. You had, Coach G had more years than all of it together. Paul Harrison, mainly a D1 assistant up until then. Played Barstow, leader, Jay, and also Engel. What's the one similarity, I guess, and what's the maybe the one thing you took that all of them kind of had?
I think I got along with all of them because that number one thing is that everybody wants to win, and you got people who want to win, but most of those guys hate losing. You always hear that whole adage, man. Some people really like to win. Some people just hate losing, and everybody you just named, man, they hate losing, and I feel like I'm in the same thing. I was like, man, I gotta win just because I can't stand losing. I remember being even as a player, calling my mom used to always call me after the games on the road, and I pick up the phone and she's like, you know what, you don't have to tell me no more. I know when y'all lost, because she used to always ask, and now she doesn't even ask. She's like, I can tell when you pick up the phone because you're mad, and just you pick up the phone. So I hate losing, and that was the thing where I could get along with all those crazy personalities because I'm like, yo, hey, I hate losing. I hate losing. So what you want me to do? If you think it's gonna help us win games, I'm down. I don't care. So as a coach or a player, it's the same thing. So that's why G could send me down to Florida, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Help us win games next year. I'm down for it.
Like, so where did you go after your 2 years with Harrison?
Yeah, so after that, I started having kids, so and my kid already had kids, but my kids were young at that age where I was like, man, I'm missing a lot, the grounds of being a college, Division II assistant, man, you're at games, you got to recruit, you still, so after that second year, I was like, you know what, I got into high school basketball, so because at least I can be home at a decent hour, uh, so went to so then I started working with my former high school coach, Coach Quam at Cherokee High School. So and then I was there for a couple, let's see, 3, 4 years. Yep. And then after that, I went to North Cobb High School and worked under Terry Gorsuch for 3 years. So.
And Terry was an assistant when you played at Sprayberry, right, or no?
Yep. He was assistant. He was the assistant when I was at Sprayberry. I think he was the freshman coach. Yeah, he was the freshman coach when I was a freshman. Um, I didn't. Yeah, I played varsity, but he still was helping obviously for the varsity team as well.
Now, how much? I know one of the things we talk about with all the different levels, and now you're saying we've gone JUCO, we've gone Division II, we've gone NAI, now we got high school.
Yep.
I know that recruiting and all that piece is different, but just from a basketball standpoint on the court, Quam and Gorsuch are both highly respected coaches. Like, how similar are they on the floor to what you got to see with college guys?
Well, first recruiting shouldn't be in high school, Bowles. It shouldn't be different. It shouldn't be recruiting, but I say shouldn't. We are in Georgia. But second, now they were great practitioners in their own right. They ran stuff that I was like, man, this is really good stuff. A lot of continuity stuff where I'm like, man, and some stuff that I'm planning on using this year. So I definitely learned from them as well because they fall in that same boat where they both hated to lose. So they had some great stuff. Sometimes, especially in high school, you don't get to recruit certain things. You don't. I want a four that can do this. No. You just got to play your best available, and you know what? I got to have an offense to fit my best available. I can't be like, all right, I can't run the same system for 10 years and recruit those guys. No, it's just not going to be your best way as a high school coach. You have to adapt to what you have. So. And those guys were able to do it at a high level. Definitely were competing against some monsters when I was there.
All right, so where does that take you next after the long journey, all in Georgia, may I add? Where does that take us next?
Yeah. After that, I actually got out of coaching for a while. Again, like I said, just wanted to spend more time with the family. And, it was COVID happening. So it was like, man, do I really want to be in a school? So, I did construction for 2 years, and, made actually pretty good money during COVID. It was high demand. So, I did a lot of that. And then after everything, I guess COVID died down and everything. And I realized, man, this is not for me. For a long term. This is, I enjoyed it when I could, but those harsh summers and winters were not my favorite part of the job. That was definitely not.
Air conditioned gym and heated gym.
Man, it's not the same. So, but still, I had the passion to coach. That was the main thing. Man, I really had the passion to coach. So I kind of, snuck back on here, and randomly. I think, Newton had probably talked to you, Baldwin, but, he kind of reached out and was like, you're interested in coming, to help the guys out. And so I did that for, that first year, and it was, I wasn't full. I didn't make it at the beginning. Also, another thing is I had, type of cancer that year. I found out I had cancer that year. So, sarcoma. Obviously everything's good. I had that cut out and everything, but so that slowed me being able to start from the beginning of the year. But I think I probably came in probably around maybe this time of year. Yeah, to help out, and boom, jumped in, and they definitely accepted me like I was there every day, players and coaches alike, so that was pretty awesome where, I came in, and it might not even been this early. I think I actually probably came in like October, early October. Yeah, early October. And, they came in, and, at first I was a little bit hesitant to, just jump in and start coaching and helping them out. And Newton, was like, yo, man, you know your stuff, go ahead. And, we had a good group of guys, and they all, accepted me like I was there for, the whole time. So it was pretty cool.
Now, how much, this is kind of a little recruiting pitch, I guess, but how much different is Reinhardt now than it was 12 years ago, or however long ago it was that you were there?
Man, I would say, obviously it's grown. It's more people here. Uh, but the best things about Reinhardt is the same. I will also say that, man, it's still, a little country, a school in the kind of the country, you know what I'm saying? But 8 miles down, you have everything you need. Waleska, Georgia is the country, but not really, because like I said, 8 miles down the road, you have, everything you need. You got all the food you want, all the food places, Walmart, movie theaters, all you got downtown area. Uh, so that kind of things, So, but the college itself sits on a little, it's in a little small country town, which I like it. It's one of the safest colleges in the, that I know of. We got 4 ways to come in here, which has cameras, so everybody that comes, you got license plates tag on everybody that comes basically towards our campus, so it's one of the safest places. Crime is low, and just about everybody kind of knows everybody. So, like I said, the best things are pretty much the same. It's a little bit more people than it was, so, and that's also a good thing. So,
good. And how was your transition gone from working with Newton to now you're the guy, now you're the head women's coach? How did this all go down? How does it feel?
well, so it happened, Coach Wagner, I guess was contemplating this late last year. And Porsche, when he finally decided, Porsche asked me, it's something that I'm interested in. So he told me to think about it, and that's what I did. I took probably like a week, and thought about it and prayed about it, and it definitely seemed like an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. And to be honest, so far it's been better than I thought it would be. Obviously I haven't played in games, so, but and actually haven't even had an official practice yet. We don't start practice for another, I guess, 2 weeks or a week or so. But just being able to, know, all right, this is what I plan to do. This is what kind of offense I'm going to run. This is what, being able to think about the things that I want, all the knowledge that I've gained over my years of coaching. I'm excited. I'm really excited to start.
That's great. How about going from Porsche being your head coach that you were an assistant for to now you're on about a third year here where he's the athletic director, not only the one that hired you to be the head coach, but also when you were an assistant for Newton, he's your AD. How different was that?
Yeah, it was strange, So, and me and Newton used to always talk about that because actually, so the first year I was just assistant for Newton, and then that second year, spot came open, so I applied. So I became the assistant athletic director over here at Reinhardt. You know, so I could come here on a more full-time scale. You know, like I said, that first year I was kind of helping out and had another job as well. So, but after that, I became the assistant athletic director. So I was a Newton's assistant, and I'm the assistant athletic director. So he was like, man, he's like this. So kind of my boss, but you're kind of working for me. So it was it was something we used to always talk about. But it worked out fine. You know, like I said, we was all about winning games. So and then all of my other duties that I just did on spare time and stuff. So it was it was fine. No, I was
Right.
just saying, and it's good working with Porsche. You know, I say he's a good guy. We became friends over the years, so I enjoy working with him on a day-to-day basis.
Nice. So you've seen the men's side for a long time. I know it's been a very small sample size so far, but what's been the major difference, or has it surprised you with not being that much different coaching women?
So I still remember. So you remember that first year at Truett, I did coach girls as well with Coach Carly
Yes,
Lou Anderson. Yeah, yeah.
that is right.
So
You started about the
yep,
second
yep.
part of the semester, right? Yes, second
Yeah, yeah.
semester you
Second part, yep, yep.
jumped in.
Second semester,
Yep,
she
yep.
said she couldn't find nobody. So, I talked to you about it, and you was like, "Man, you can make more money, do it." So, and you know what, Truett, they paid me all at one time for that second semester. They didn't pay me during the school year, but I got the job at Reinhardt, and I remember getting a check right before I left to go to Reinhardt, and it was for that second semester of helping them. I was like, "Oh man, I'm rich." It's a couple $1,000s, but I felt like I just got it all at one time. I was like, man, and then about to go to my other job. Um, but yeah, and I think so far it is what I remember from then. Girls listen more. They really do. They don't think they know it all. At least on the basketball court. Now other places I can't talk for, but but on the basketball court, uh, they tend to listen more, and I that's one thing that I definitely enjoy about it.
And so now I guess we go into the best part of the show, the lightning round. So me
Okay.
and Bowles, we'll give you 3 questions apiece, and then we'll let you kind of knock them out. If you want any more stories or name dropping, obviously within those questions, you can roll with it. Bowles,
Yep.
you go first, Bowles. I've been hogging the show. I'm gonna let
No,
you
you're
go.
good.
I'm gonna
So it's
share the
nice when I get
ball.
to go first. I get to steal some of CB's questions. I won't
Yeah.
steal his food
Okay.
question, but I'll get some. So this one is near and dear to my heart for this one because I know Georgia Southwestern, I know Reinhardt, Clayton, all those places. In all of your years in Georgia, what is the worst gym that you've ever played in?
Oh, this is actually an easy one. This just really is, and that's that actually played it. Actually, I don't know if it's an easy one because at one point, yeah, okay, so I'll give you two. We used to practice when GSW, Georgia Southwestern, was making their current gym is beautiful. But we used to practice in like a old, like beat up gym on campus. We practiced there in South Georgia Tech, but the one we practiced on the most is the old beat up one on campus. And if it was, you know, dew on the ground outside, it would get wet real easy, that gym. So we never played on that, but that was practice and that was the worst. But not counting that one that was just for practice, the old Emmanuel gym had to be the worst gym in the state. Like that place was, yeah, it was bad. And they had like the 3 columns right off the sideline. Like I'm talking about like and really just thought like somebody's gonna die here. Like it's gonna run into a column. And it was crazy. I was like, why did they put those there? And it had to be maybe 5 feet at most from the sideline. And so I was always, yeah, that was a scary gym to play in.
See, I had to go with this one. I was talking to some of my old LaGrange College teammates, and we started talking about the Emmanuels, the Bruton Parkers, the old Piedmont. And after we did, we started talking about all the bad gyms and realized that LaGrange is the only one that hasn't fixed their gym. Everybody else got new ones.
Oh, yeah,
You went
yeah,
from
yeah.
first to worst.
Most of those gyms are, yeah, yeah.
All right, CB, you have one, or you want me to knock out another one?
Go ahead. Go. You get your 3 in a row. Go ahead.
All right, I go here. All right, so next one for you. We went worst. Now we're gonna go best. What's the best atmosphere that you've ever played or coached in?
Let's see. The best gym, man. I do remember some great, maybe the first game, in Americas. That first game when that new stadium was there, I think, yeah, it was a big thing because, open up a new stadium, and that was a pretty electric game. We had a lot of people there. So that was pretty good. You know what? Kennesaw State, their old gym was actually, it was smaller, much smaller than it is now. But that place, man, when we were good, that place would get loud and it would be packed out. So that has to be high on that list as well. And speaking of some, I'm talking about some old high school games, man. We played back in the day. We played Wheeler, and we were ranked. I think we were ranked like number 8 in the state, and they were like number 3 in the state. And we played them at their house. And I think we beat them, but I still remember, that's still an old high school game. But that place again is on TV, and that place was packed out. One of the best places that I remember playing at. We actually broke their. I think they had won 74 in a row at home, and we broke that streak for them. So, but yeah, those are all those places. I'm sure I'm missing one or two, but yeah, all those places were great.
Nice. All right. So my last one, and those are some good ones right there. Corey, Searle may need to be ready to edit this one out.
All right. Go ahead.
I want to know your best Randolph Barksdale story.
Oh, yeah, you might. One PG, that I can actually tell. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm just trying to tell. Oh man. So maybe I'll give you one, and then I'll try to give. I do know one. So Leader's favorite story about Barksdale. Okay, we were playing. I think we was in Kansas City at the time, and Randolph, Coach Barksdale has like a, they're at the casino, and Leader tells us the story. He's like, he has one of those $100 chips, and he puts the $100 chip in the slot machine, pulls it down, doesn't win, just walks away. And Leader just stands there looking at the slot machine. He's like, that was the story right there. He's like, that's simple. He's like, I just thought that was crazy. He's like, throw $100 in the slot machine and just walk away like it's nothing. Like, so that was pretty good. But Barksdale, man, I will say, okay, another one. So we're playing a game. I'm on the bench, and Leader Barksdale used to talk with a high-pitched voice, okay, like really high-pitched. So Barksdale's like, Leader, put Alfonso in the game. And he's like, what are you talking about? Put Alfonso back in the game. And so Leader's looking around, he's like, what are you talking about? What are you doing? So I'm sitting there, I was like, yo, I think he means me, coach. And Leader looks, he's like, you mean Antonio? Shit, I don't care the boy name. Put it back in the game. so that was a good one too. And then
So now you got another nickname, Alfonso. I got to remember that.
Oh yeah. And then I know we're trying to keep it short, but one more quick. I just know Barksdale used to always go, not always, but I just remember him saying, if a kid, he said, man, shit, son, you so dumb, you don't know which hand to rock in. You have no idea which hand to rock in. And it was like, oh my gosh. And so he used to tell that to one or two of our slower players but yeah.
I love it.
I said, that whole year really could have been a reality show.
It sounds like it was. It just wasn't televised, but it was.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go. You've been in all these spots in Georgia. Give me your top 2 barbecue places in Georgia.
Oh, top 2.
Even if they're closed down, not open, but whatever. 2 you've ate.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you number 1 it's got to be Fox Brothers. Fox Brothers, man, that Fox Brothers barbecue is the best. So that's an easy one. I used to go there on my way down to Clayton State, and boom, or on the way home. And my second one, man, it's been so many. I might have to say, I'm gonna say Fat Matt's. Fat
Ooh, I
Matt's
like
Rib
that.
Shack.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah,
That's a really good.
yeah,
I like
that's a
that.
good one. Yeah, it's a
All right.
small. That place is small, but yeah, they have some really good ribs and barbecue there too as
Unbelievable
well.
rib.
So
So
yeah.
this is
But
the
yeah,
second part of that. This is the second part of that question because I always stretch out and get more
CB
questions.
can't do just 3. You know that. He's
So what out of all your lunch spots, at Clayton, Truett, Reinhardt, I know currently Reinhardt, instead of going down to each place, even in high schools that you were at and et cetera, what's your favorite lunch spot you had while working in college coaching or high school coaching?
working or because I'm about to say, man, America's got some good food down there. I mean, I used to
Okay.
love me some Carter's down there in America's,
Oh man, I
and
like
they
it.
also they used to have another place. It was home cooking, and it was right down the same street with Carter's. And I don't think it's there anymore. I don't think it survived COVID. I actually asked somebody, not, but they had a home home cooking place, and I think for college students it was like $6 for like two, a meat and 2 sides and a lemonade, and they had the best lemonade as well.
Now, this
And
may be the same one we had on the Austin Kelly episode. He talked about an America's food spot. It sounds like the same place.
yeah, I think I remember seeing that episode, and I said, I think that's the same place. I really do. It was really good food, and it was like different stuff, and she usually just cooked like 3 different meats or what you want, and you pick. It's kind of like a Piccadilly's, but it was just a Southern old lady cooking in there. It was really really good.
All right. Now give us out of being with all these big time coaches and all the times that you were with a lot of these older guys and then being with some of the younger guys, what's the biggest difference from the young coach and the old coach working with them? What's the
Man,
major difference?
yeah, I really, I'm trying to think about it. For most of them, it's not really that much of a difference. You know, G didn't eat. That was the only thing that I can think. I never seen G eat like before, if it wasn't after midnight. Um, but other than that, no, you know, not much of a
Well,
difference.
what's your other than this podcast? What would be your favorite podcast out there? Do you one you listen to a lot?
Man, I really don't even. I would change up to different ones. Like I like listening to like stuff that happened. Like the short history stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know that kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, I listen to this one. I don't do a lot of podcasts. I probably read more than I do podcasts, and I don't
Oh,
read enough.
Thurl
But
would be happy. Thurl would ask, "What's your favorite book?" Man?
oh man, my favorite book. Man, I got a couple. And is it bad that they're all movies? uh, I mean, what's man, the one that Angelina Jolie did? She turned it into a movie. Why can't I think of it now? Um, I don't know, but I forgot the name. I also like Hacksaw Ridge. When you read the book, you actually do get a lot more information. That was a good one as well. That was a good book. Why can't I think of the other one? Man, but
All right. Last one here. I definitely went over 3. I'm sorry, Bowles. Last
oh,
one
no
here
worries.
is the who's the best player you ever coached or coached against?
Best player I ever coached. Whew. All right, I do a prep. Let's see. Man, okay, I can also okay. So it was the first time in both of these situations. So first time I ever went out recruiting. Okay, first time I ever went out recruiting was with you, and like you said, you threw me to the woods, and you was like, man, it's like getting a girl. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can go talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? I know how to get girls. So that was the Corey Baldwin speech. He was like, it's like just talk to a girl. Just let them know that you want them, but not too bad. But yeah, it's like, hey, I got that. Okay. So, so I went out, and the first time I went to, I think it was a school in Atlanta, and it's my first ever recruiting trip. And I go to I think it was like a YMCA or something, maybe Langston Hughes High School, something like that. I don't remember where exactly, but I just know it was in Atlanta. So I go there to an open run, and there's a lot of coaches in here, and like some big time coaches, So I'm like in there, and I'm like, man, it's a lot of big time coaches in the gym. So I just sat down, kind of by myself. So and I see a kid I know, and then I was like, so then he comes up, then he starts coming up to me. He's like, Coach Campbell. I'm like, oh, what up? So I gave him. So it was Chris Singleton. He was playing at Dunwoody at the time. I coached him when he was at Cherokee. I coached him the summers for Coach Quam, and so he came up, gave me a hug and everything. So and we talked for like 5 minutes, and then he goes back. So they're all there to see Chris Singleton. That's all the big time coaches. He was a eventual high school All-American. But yeah, that kid, really could go, obviously. And then you see all the coaches kind of sliding down, and hey, where you from? Oh, how you know him? Kind of that kind of thing. So that was good. But that was the best high school player when that I had coached. I do remember, and the best college player I ever played against was that was my first recruiting experience. My first time ever playing in a college basketball game. I played against Flip Murray. And wow. I don't know if y'all remember. Yeah, he was. Yeah, and man, he played for the Supersonics, and he was unbelievable. I remember, and it was the first guy I ever guarded in high school too. I mean, in college. I was a pretty good defender. He's like, yeah, you got him. And I came off the bench at the time, like I said, freshman. But yeah, I remember guarding him, and I was like, man, this dude is faster, stronger, taller, can shoot better, can handle. Like it was like. First time I was like, man, this guy's just better at basketball, at every aspect of basketball than I am. But I do remember that same game. We was playing at Shaw University, and they had a packed crowd. Actually, a great atmosphere to play at, since we're talking about. But their place was packed at. And I'm on the bench, and he crossed up one of our guys, who was pretty good defender, and took a dribble and bounced off two. And we had a big 6'8", 6'9" guy. And he goes off two and holds the ball back and just stops in the air, pauses, and then dunks the ball. And I remember just standing up real quick. I was like, oh, and I just had to look around and sit back down real slowly. I'm the only freshman on the squad. But, Flip Murray, he was pretty unbelievable.
As we kind of close up, do you have anything you want to talk about? Anything anything we didn't hit that you want to mention or talk about here?
No, I mean, I think we pretty much hit a lot of it, we hit it, like you said, all the way from, White County, Georgia, down to Morrow, Jonesboro, so back to Reinhardt. So, yeah, we hit a lot of areas. Yeah, Americus. You got to say Americus.
That's right. Well, good deal. Well, we really appreciate you coming on, Tony, and we wish you nothing but the best this year at Reinhardt.
I appreciate
lead that program, man. Do a great job. I know you will. And
let's wrap it up, Daniel.
All right, and Tony, we appreciate you being on. I know that for Corey, having former assistants on there is big, and me and you have known each other for a long time. We got Final Four stories and all sorts of stuff that that aren't going to make it onto the pod.
No. And but one thing I will say is Bowles can shoot that thing. Okay, I don't know if he still can, but he used to be able to shoot that thing.
It's been a while, but it's still there.
Well, yeah. Hey, Bowles, that reminds me, he Tony is the all-time leading scorer in Truett McConnell faculty team. Great story.
I don't know.
On that. He was LeBron James out there. He's dunking on soccer guys. It was classic. But the best was we lose the first game, and we had one of the missions guy, nerdy type guy was on the team, was like, we're never gonna win. And me and Tony were like, no, we'll be fine. And I don't think we lost another game. We were kind of mad at that guy for saying that.
You remember? I think it was maybe. I think we might have lost a little bit because couldn't play yet. You remember? I still had my torn Achilles, and the doctor wouldn't give me the okay.
Yeah.
And so I think I missed like the first 2 or 3 weeks, and I think y'all maybe went 1-2, 2-1. But y'all, what I'm saying? It was like not too bad. It was like, and then I came in, and we just had another ball handler. It was just you and Carly Lou Anderson, and I think Carly Lou might be the best. Maybe had the most points because she hit a 3 in the first 5 points.
Yeah, all her threes were worth 5.
I just knew to give her the ball. I was like, man,
shoot it.
Yeah, that was the goal. That was the goal. Just get her 5-pointers.
That's right. That's classic. All right. Well, sign us off here, Bowles. What do you got?
On Twitter, we are at @offbeatenpath_. You can find us all over the place now. We are old school on YouTube. We are Spotify. We are Apple Podcasts. You can find us anywhere now.
And we're still a show for those who want to coach, those who used to coach, those who are coaches, those who follow coaches, and those, unfortunately, who fire them, and those who fortunately hire them. And we hope you listen in and continue to listen as we keep growing how we can reach you.